Hey, my book lovelies! It's 2026. How crazy is that? Where did 2025 go? So today's video is books I'm hoping to read in January. I've set myself a goal of 20. Well, a TikTok filter set me a goal of 20, and these are the books I think are on my TBR for January. I'm such a mood reader, but I am really trying to stick with a little bit more of a plan this year. So I've kind of set myself a goal. I have to read at least one romance or dark romance. I'm putting them in the same category. At least one fantasy or romantasy. It's likely to be a romantasy. I tend to avoid high fantasy, I don't know why. At least one crime thriller, at least one classic, and then last but not least, at least one, what was the fifth one? Historical fiction. How could I forget? I do love historical fiction. So let's dive in and have a look at some of the books that are on Mills's TBR for January 2026. At the end of each of the weeks as well, I'll do a little update on what I've been reading, what I've been watching, maybe what I've been listening to, just so you can kind of see what's been going on in my week. Let's dive in. So the first one is actually a series. We've got Fight, Protect, and Honor, which are part of the Sky Ridge Hotshot series. Sexy firefighters, need I say more? I actually love the concept of this series because you've got 3 different authors. I know Sloane St. James is an author, but I've not read anything by her before. Of course, we know my obsession with Paisley Hope, which I think is what drew me to this series. And then Danielle Barker, or Baker, I think it's Baker. I haven't read anything by this author, so I'm hoping if I like her writing style, it's going to open some new authors to me, which I'm really excited in 2026 to try some new authors out, especially some new indie ones, because a lot of my favourite indie authors are being picked up to be traditionally published, and I just need more. So this one's kind of like a grumpy sunshine romance. He has trust issues. She's running from a secret. He thinks when he finds out her secret that, again, he's opened a door on all his trust issues. It's forced proximity, snowed in, spice, banter, dual point of view, everything you could probably want in a book, which I absolutely love. The second book, Protect, is a single mum trope. I'm here for the single mum trope. This year, I think, single dads, you can say in 2025, single mum is where I'm at, because when the main male character, who's obviously romancing the single mum, starts to show an interest in the child, there's something that does to me, like my heart flutters. Whereas when the single dad has to look after his kids, yeah, they're his kids, he has to. But this guy, he doesn't have to show up for these children. And I kind of love that. She has lost her brother, her twin brother, in a fire. He's part of the team that was there when the twin brother was lost, and also her twin brother's best friend. He's kind of let her down in the past, so you get that second chance romance. Last year I read The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore, and that is by far my favourite second chance romance I've ever read, so I'm hoping this can rival that. Then we have Honor, recently widowed, pregnant, sister of your best friend. I don't know how that's going to go down. I feel like this one could have the most trauma in it. This one officially comes out on the 8th of January, but I'm on a tour with this with Pam Macmillan, so I'll be posting my review on the 10th on my TikTok if you do want to come across and have a look at that. But yeah, I'm really excited for this series. I think this is going to be a really easy series to read. It's going to be really fun. And yeah, 3 books straight away will be ticked off by the 10th of January. So I can't complain at that. Then we have the first book of our January book club. Now, if you do want to join my January book club, my link is in my bio, on my TikTok, on my Instagram. I don't think I have a bio link on YouTube. I don't know if that's possible or not, or just try and drop me a message in the comments if you do want to join in. We read 4 books across the month, so 1 each week. You can join in with any of them. You can join in with one of them. You can join in with none if none of them are your vibe. And it's completely free to join the book club. All you do is join the app on Fable, and it allows you to comment daily, hourly, seconds. Every time you read a chapter, you can put a comment in, thoughts, feelings, or you can just comment at the end. Some people do that. Up to you. This year, I'm going to make the conscious effort with book club to try and comment each chapter, or comment when I think it's relevant, because last year, sometimes I just got really into the book and forgot that I was reading it as part of book club, which is really bad of me. So the first book is Depraved Devotion by Morgan Bridges. This is a psychopath psychologist, so like doctor-patient romance. He's killed all these people, admit to killing all these people, and then only wants to meet Dr. Geneva. He's called Ghost, and he's like, I want to speak to her. We don't know why yet. She's got some trauma in her past. Both her parents were murdered, and I'm really excited to see how that kind of ties up, where the story lines up. I read the Possessing Her duology by Morgan Bridges in the end of 2024, so I was obsessed with that. I need to pick up more from this author. I have the Vicious Society, but I just hadn't dived into that in 2025. So I'm hoping this will spur me on to reading more by this author in 2026. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's the first book in a series. That's the only thing. I kind of want to look at the end and just see the cliffhanger. I'm not going to, but I kind of want to see the cliffhanger that we're left on, because I just know that we're going to be left on such a cliffhanger. So that's 4 books. Bear in mind, we're aiming for 20. We've got 4 on the list so far. That's the hardest thing, is just trying to find 20 books that you actually want to read as well. Then I've picked up this crime and thriller. So this is The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. It came out last year with Source Books. I don't know why I didn't read it last year. I think I was just really not in that crime thriller space. And after seeing The Housemaid at the cinema, if you haven't seen that film, my goodness, do you need to go see it? It was so good. I actually think I preferred to the book, which is very rare, but some of the tweaks they made to the series was perfect. And this one is about Abby, who wants a baby more than anything. That's all Abby ever wants. But it says, after years of failed infertility treatments and adoptions that have fallen through, it seems like motherhood is not in her future. That is until her personal assistant, Monica, makes a generous offer to serve as a surrogate. Do you know what? I have a fear that if someone ever was a surrogate, maybe I'm guessing what's going to happen here, that they would run off with my baby. Like, I just have that fear in my body that somebody would grow your child, it would be your DNA, and they would run off with it. Technically, I think they have the rights to it if they're growing it. I don't know if that's true or not, but it says it's an offer that will make Abby's dreams come true, but soon strange things are happening, and it turns out Monica isn't who she says she is. The woman, now carrying Abby's baby, has an unspeakable secret, and she'll stop at nothing to get what she wants. I absolutely love the way that Frida McFadden writes. When you go into her books, this is in dual point of view, so that's a different way to what I've normally read, but when you go into her books, you know you're going to get that kind of classic thriller vibe. You know what to expect. It isn't too big of a book either. So that is book 5, and it also ticks off, because at the moment I've only ticked off romance/dark romance, so it also ticks off my crime and thriller element that I want to read each month. Then I have a romantasy. I think you'd call it romantasy, because it's kind of like a God's retelling. So I do think that is a romantasy, and it's meant to be spicy as hell, which I am so excited for. So this is The Fallen Gods by Rachel Van Dyken. I have seen this everywhere. So Pam Macmillan under Bramble published this year, and I saw loads of people get an ARC for this. I can't remember if I just didn't apply for the ARC. I honestly don't know, but I was so jealous when I saw people reading it. I was like, why didn't I apply for this? I think at the end of 2025, I had so many books I needed to get through. With my 10 before the end, I just kind of stopped preparing for 2026, if that makes sense. It's just so bad of me. So this one says, the world believed the gods were myths and giants were only stories. They were wrong. It says if you're a fan of Katie Robert, Neon Gods, you're going to love this steamy, dramatic myth retelling. So the gods aren't dead, they're merely, is that how you say that word? Yeah, merely sleeping, locked in mortal bodies scattered across the world, waiting for the right spark to wake them. And Rage Stern's father, Odin, is the most ruthless of them all. I love anything with gods retelling. I think it's from a childhood of loving Hercules. So if you get any of that kind of vibe, I absolutely am obsessed with it. Obviously, you have some gods in The Divine Rivals, by Rebecca Ross. It's not based on mythology, so I'm really excited to read one that's based on mythology. I don't know if this is a standalone or not, but I'm really excited to try that, and this will tick my fancy. I also have 2 more books that will tick fantasy, so I'll go through those next, but this would be book 6, so I do manage it. Then book 7, that's also fantasy, because I said those 2 more fantasies, is Cruel as the Light by Sophie Clark. I was really lucky to be sent this by Penguin. I have only ever seen this in paperback, so when I saw that there was a hardback version and they said, do you want one? I was like, yes please. I absolutely love fantasy books, and this one is a pretty one. I didn't realise it was going to be as beautiful. I think that's why I love my fantasy to be in hardback. You're going to get a little bit more than a paperback if you read a hardback fantasy. And this is about a brutal war between demons and humanity. There is something about a demon in a book that I'm always drawn to. I know I'm going to fall in love with the demon. I know whoever is. I think it's as well, like, because of Once Upon a Demon's Heart, I think last year I just really fell in love with demon books. And it's raged across Europe for a century. At its heart are 2 elite soldiers, Selena, a powerful exorcist trained at the prestigious Vatican Academy, and a foot soldier, Jules, who is unrivaled in battle. When their paths cross, they have this unwelcome attraction, and they are about to discover a terrible secret at the heart of the Holy Vatican City. Now, I've been to the Vatican when I was a child. I went to Rome with my family. We went into the Vatican City. So I kind of love that it's set there, because I know, I can still vividly remember it, so I know the location. I think this is a trilogy. I could be wrong, but we know I start series and like to get you guys to start series, so sorry not sorry, what can I say? And then book 8, which is the 3rd romantasy that I've got on my list, is The Sacred Space Between. Again, I saw everybody reading this by Kaylee Reid in 2025, and I had to pick this up. I'm pretty sure I got this from the TikTok shop from HarperCollins because they have some really good deals. If you're ever looking books and you know HarperCollins selling them, they often have like 20 to 40% off on their TikTok shop. So I always recommend grabbing stuff from there. So yeah, this is A Sacred Space Between. I believe this is a standalone. I'm really hoping it is. I've looked it up on Goodreads and I'm like, please, 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 please be a standalone. I don't know if I can take not being a standalone. I don't know if I can take it. So it says, even a saint can be a sinner. And again, it's just so pretty inside. I think this one doesn't have anything on the dust jacket, on the hardback, but it does have beautiful end papers. So it says, Jude is a saint. He has dangerous magic, and he's exiled by the abbey to live out his days alone on the decaying estates of the moors until a gifted iconographer, Maeve, is sent to paint his icon. Suspecting she's a spy, Jude makes his admission to get rid of her, despite the temptation she brings. So I feel like it's that kind of forced proximity, enemies to lovers, that I just absolutely adore in my romantasy. There is something so good about it. So yeah, I cannot wait to dive into this. I think those three, I don't want to put too many fantasies in each month because I get a little bit obsessed when I read a fantasy and then I don't want to read anything else and I just want to read the rest of that series, and that often doesn't exist. So I have to be careful how many romances I put in. I feel like a romance I can walk away from. Crime and thriller, they tend to be standalones, or you know the detective's going to come back with a completely different story. So I feel like I can 100% walk away from them. However, this type of book is one that I don't want to walk away from. But out of the 5 genres I'm trying to read, we've done romance, we've done crime thriller, we've done romantasy, historical fiction. So this is The Bookbinder Secret by A.D. Bell. Again, pick this one up from HarperCollins on the TikTok shop. It's little plain things that I know it's not much, but just little things like that make me happy. And this is set in Oxford in 1901. And I absolutely love historical fiction. I'm a big fan of the Woman series, the Woman book, not the series, by Kristen Hanna. But I think I've read everything Kristen Hanna, so I'm trying to branch out and read other ones. And last year I read a lot of witches. I feel like 2024 and 2025 had a lot of 1600 witch trials. I don't know why. I don't think it was particularly on purpose. I just think authors often have similar ideas at the same time, and you can find like someone might write one book and 6 come out the week later, and you think, how on earth has that happened? It does. Like, they've been writing these books for years sometimes. They're not just like, oh, I saw someone write this, I'm going to quickly write one like that. It's not how it works. But it is crazy. And I think also publishing houses will say, we're looking for this sort of thing, or we haven't seen this in a while, and that will encourage people to write in a certain way. So we're trying something different with The Bookbinder Secret by A.D. Bell. So this is obviously set in 1900s. I was trying to say on my live the other day, it's 1980s historical fiction. I was really hoping it was, so I could count that, but everyone was like, no, Mills, it's not. So this one says, Lillian Delaney, apprentice to a master bookbinder, chafes at the confines of her life, caught between the oppressive walls of her father's bookshop and the limitations of being a woman in a man's profession. But when a burned book comes into her possession, she finds hidden beneath the binding a 50-year-old letter speaking of love, fortune, and murder. So I'm really excited to read this. It doesn't look like it jumps timeline. It doesn't look like it has dual point of view, which is a little bit different to some of the other historical fiction books I've read, but I think this is going to be such a good one. And what danger could lie in a book? I kind of think the tagline when I saw that drew me in as well. So I'm really, really excited to read this, which just leaves classics left to cover. Hitting book 10 with the classic, I think we're easily going to hit 20 books I need to read this month. It's just whether I will get them all read. January is one of those months where the weather's cold. It's snowed here for the last couple of days and I don't want to leave the house. I'm about to start a juice diet as well, which I'll tell you about at the end of the video. But yeah, I'm about to start a juice diet and I don't know if I'm going to have the energy to do much. So, we are going to be reading for the first classic of 2026. Of course, it has to be Wuthering Heights. The film's coming out. I'm so excited to see it. This is by Emily Bronte. It's the classic story between Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff, and they run through the moors a lot. Is this quite a chunky one to read? Yes. So this is my painted classic. Again, these are from HarperCollins. I think that painted classics are going to get a lot of reads this year because I have a lot of classics from them. And of course I had to start 2026 with, look at that, with Wuthering Heights. And the quote is, whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. I'm so excited for the film coming out. So I feel like this is the most perfect classic to read. And marks book 10 of the 20 books I need to read this month. I'm really hoping I make 20 or I smash it and do like 30. We will see. Then book 11's a little bit different. So my sister actually got me this for Christmas. I absolutely love that. It's When Gavin Met Stacey and Everything in Between. You probably don't know this about me. I'm the biggest Gavin and Stacey fan. If I'm unwell, if I'm sad, if I'm happy, it's a comfort show that I will watch and watch and watch time and time again. And this is the story of James Corden and Ruth Jones and how they came to write Gavin and Stacey, the process of writing Gavin and Stacey, some background information. I absolutely adore as well that it has photographs inside. I feel like I was a little bit late to Gavin and Stacey, so by the time we as a family started watching it, the Christmas special which was out, which is after season 2, so we never watched season 1 and 2 whilst they were first on BBC 3. We started watching Gavin and Stacey when it was moved to BBC 1 with the Christmas special, and we were hooked. We got them on DVD. Yeah, it was a little while ago. We had a DVD player. We were watching The Big Bang Theory at the same time. We got them on DVD, and since then, if I'm ever having just anything happen in my life that's big or a change or unexpected or sad or happy, anything, I turn to Gavin and Stacey as a comfort show. It's one of those ones I can put on and I know it word for word. I love it. I laugh at it. I cry at it. The final episode broke me. I just remember sitting there in floods of tears when Mick stands up. If you haven't watched it, that's not a spoiler, but when Mick stands up, I was like, yes, get in. So there. She actually got this from the airport, so even though this is meant to be a hardback, this is the paperback version because she knows I love collecting books that I love. So I have a few very special books in my life that if I'm obsessed with, I'm like, please can someone when they're next in the airport grab me this. So I really love that she got me this, and yeah, I just love Gavin and Stacey. So a non-fiction as well. I feel like I don't ever read, I didn't put non-fiction on my forced list, just because I felt like I don't want to force a non-fiction all the time. I don't often read biographies. Like I said, I think I've read 2 in my life, Roman Kemp because I want to marry that man, and Tom Felton because I also want to marry that man. So it makes sense that the third non-fiction book I'm going to read is Gavin and Stacey. Then for book 12, I was obsessed with Silver Elite last year by Danny Francis, and I also was obsessed with the 5th Sunrise on the Reaping Hunger Games book. It kind of awoke my dystopian love, and I forgot, kind of like as a late teen, how much I would be obsessed with dystopia and how much I would enter that world. And I'm pretty sure To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast is a dystopian book. Get In, Get Out, Don't Fall in Love. It has a beautiful sprayed edge. I picked this up from Wayward, which is Penguin, on the TikTok shop. I get all my books from, I think we know at this point, unless someone gifts me a book, I tend to buy all my books from the TikTok shop, from Good Girls Read, from Hachette, from Penguin, from HarperCollins. Like, I just think they have such good deals. So, look how pretty this is as well. I think this is a limited edition one, and I don't know how long it's going to be around for, but I've heard some really good things about this book. Wayward is a publisher that I haven't worked with much, but I kind of want to because they have some of my favourite books. A deadly prison, a forbidden romance, a fight for survival. In the city of Diviadum, the law is simple. Commit a crime and your punishment is a lifetime sentence in Enlock, a prison where the wealthy hunt inmates for sport. So I'm kind of like, this is giving a little bit of darkness as well. I don't know if you guys read Sinner's Retreat by Lauren Beale, but I loved the element of serial killers being let loose on an island. And that's giving that vibe. Raventhorn is Diviadum's most notorious bounty hunter, living on the edge of society. But when her younger brother Jed is sentenced to Enlock, Raven will do anything to save him, even if it means getting herself arrested. So yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be dystopian heaven. It's not dual point of view, and I've been reading a lot of dystopian recently, and it hasn't been dual point of view. I tend to avoid them, but for this genre, I dive headfirst into dystopian heaven, and I'm really excited to read this. And obviously, like I said, this is book 12 on my list. We're doing well. If I can get to like 20 books I'm planning on reading, I'll be so proud of myself. Then for book club, we have the second book we're going to be reading in January, which is We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. This is meant to be vampires and romantasy, and I saw a couple of people read this last year as an advance copy and say it was a 6-star read for them. Mine is currently on the way, so I'll just have to insert a picture of the cover here. It's a hardback, so we know my obsession with a hardback. So it says, life in the perilous Thorn District is a continuous battle for Arvel and her younger brothers. Faced with an unthinkable choice, Arvel makes a magical bounding to do the impossible. Kill the Emperor, an ancient vampire created by the god Umbros. So you've got vampires, you've got Umbros, which is a god. I really hope this is going to give me the similar vibes to the Crown of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent. Obviously, you have the goddess Nyaxia in that. I was obsessed with that series. I think there is more coming out in that world this year, which I cannot wait. Carissa Broadbent is a go-to author for me. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. You've got enemies, lovers, false proximity, magic, tournaments. When that turns up, I'm going to be so good not to start it early. I just know will. I just know I will. Then book 14 is going to be Bluebird Gold by Devney Perry. I have read loads of books by Devney Perry that are in the romance category, but she's probably most famous for her Shield of Sparrows. That's probably the book she's most famous for, which is actually a romantasy book. And whilst I love her for romantasy, I just want people to love her for romance as well. I absolutely loved it. It's a 6-book series. Why can I not remember the title of it? I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember the title of her 6-book series, but I absolutely loved it. It was kind of small town romance crime thriller. It gave similar vibes to All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. So Bluebird Gold is set in the 1980s, and it's about a girl who goes back to her small hometown to find out what happened to her father. He's passed away, but she thinks it's a little bit mysterious, and she may have a little bit of a I don't know if I want to say relationship, but there's a sheriff that may get in her way, but there may also be a bit of attraction. I'm really excited to read this. It's romance. It marks book 14, like I said, and I just hope with book club that people start to love Devney Perry. Like, I just hope that they read this and think, yep, she's the one for me, and I'm going to go and read her 6-book romance series that Mills cannot remember the name of, but loves so much. Then book 15/16 is going to be a retry. This is the Viper series by Rena Kent. So, in 2025, I discovered something about myself. I do not like a non-con. I'm not a fan of it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. If you have forced sexual scenes and there's not even an inkling that the other person wants it, and it feels like rape, I don't want to read it. I read Red Rabbit. That girl was so messed up with by the end of that book, I felt messed up with. And then I decided to dive into Beautiful Venom the month after. No. I probably got... Well, I've tabbed it, so I guess I either didn't get far. I think I got further than this, and I paused it. I actually think I DNF'd it, but we're going to say pause because Mills is going to try again. I'm in a better headspace. I feel like people around me have read this and they're like, it gets better, keep going with it. So I'm going to try again. I'm really hoping this doesn't put me in a slump. That's why I've left it till the end of January to read. It's the last book of the book club. So you've got Beautiful Venom, and then the second book in the series, Sweet Venom, comes out. This is secret society, ice hockey, dark romance, and I love Rena Kent as an author. So I'm really hoping I do fall in love with this book, or at least can survive it / finish it. I don't know if this is going to be my favourite series. It's part of a new world from her, and I'm a little bit worried that her new world is going to be dark. Okay, she's a dark romance author, but if you think about her series, the darkness tends to follow trauma. And I don't know if I can cope with this much non-con. God of Malice non-con, in the back of her mind, she was kind of enjoying it. I find this really hard to describe, but the non-con was kind of non-dub con, and I can cope with that when it's just true non-con. Get me out of there. I think in 2026, like I said, I'm going to leave single dads and non-con behind. And yeah, I've put a non-con book on book club. So like I said, that got us up to 16. So we've got 17, 18, 19, 20, 4 books. I have 5 proofs that I want to read, which is going to get us over the 20 mark. I feel like I did find 20 books I wanted to read, and that's made me really proud. So the first one is A Dark Forgetting by Kristen Ciccarelli. I have already started reading this, and this is a romantasy about a girl whose grandfather's gone missing. He's been taken as a tithe payment by the Woodland King, and she wants to get him back, so she's going to become the minstrel of the court and trade places with her father, which I'm really, really excited that we have another Kristen Ciccarelli book in my life. I loved The Crimson Moth. I loved Rebel Witch. I need to find some more series. I think there's one of a series I haven't yet read by this author, but when Harper Voyager sent me this, I screamed. I nearly cried. I absolutely love Kristen Ciccarelli, so that'll be book 17. Then we also have from Avon Books, which is part of Harper, we have The Catcher If You Can. So this is the cover, what it's going to look like. This is by Tessa Bailey, and it's the 5th book in her series. Book 4 in the series was my absolute favourite. I absolutely adored that. This one hasn't actually got a blurb with it, which I always find really odd when you're sent a book to read as an advance copy and there is no blurb. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did do a video on this, what the tropes were of this, so let me just look them up and I'll tell you. So I think this is a friends to lovers with not forced marriage, but marriage for convenience. And it comes out on the 29th of January, hence I want to make sure I've read it in January. With this one comes out in February, I should have said. So they are the first two. Then we have this one from Harper Fire. So this is a YA one. This is Queen of Faces by Petra Lord, and I have seen so many people talk about this. I was sent this last year, and I think I just wanted to leave it till January to read it so that I could enjoy it. So it says, Annabelle is trapped in a boy's body, and in a year it will kill her. In the nation of Camois, the wealthy buy and trade bodies like clothes, but Anna can only afford a grey, damaged male form, and by her 17th birthday, it's already falling apart. As her extraordinary magical abilities grow, but her body continues to fail her, she's left with only one choice: become an assassin for Paragon Academy, Camois' prestigious school of magic. It says it's a page-turning blockbuster full of heart-pounding action, inventive magic, cinema plot twists, and emotional gut punches. The perfect must-have read if you like Six of Crows, The Atlas Six, and Babel. I haven't read Babel, but I loved Six of Crows and I love The Atlas Six. So that one is also, because that comes out in January. Then we have King of Beasts by Catherine Doyle. So this is her spin-off to her Twin Crown series that she wrote with Catherine Webber. And I'm actually going to a launch party for this. I got to wear sparkles. I'm really excited. I love Catherine Webber. I think last year I saw her 4 times in total. January, February, March, and then I want to say October or November. It must have been November that I saw her that many times in a year. It was amazing. But I've never met Catherine Doyle. So I'm really excited to meet Catherine Doyle. And this is... I don't want to say too much about it. If you haven't read the Twin Crowns trilogy, you need to read it. And then Catherine Webber did a spin-off that was Pirate, and then I think this is more like icy spin-off setting. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. And again, this comes out in January. This needs to be higher up on my TBR just because I'm going to see her middle of January. And then last but not least is The Silversmith by L.J. Claren. I was sent this one by Second Sky. Again, this one comes out in February. So if I do have to drop one off the list, because I've already started my Kristen Ciccarelli, this one could end up falling into February's TBR, just depending on how I'm doing. So this says she was born to save the world, but falling in love will destroy it. And I absolutely love the books at Second Sky. They publish Phantasma and Enchantra. So still reeling from the mysterious death of her father and brother, Ari Gold survives only by sheer will in the icy wilds of the north. When the strangers arrive with stories of long-lost magic, Ari is thrust into a fate far larger than her sorrow. The realm of Nereid is under threat. An ancient shadow wielder has risen, determined to plunge the world into corrupted darkness, and Ari is the only one who can stop him. They say she has royal blood, the magic runs in her veins, that she's already promised in marriage to a powerful commander whose army is her only hope of winning the war. But a fierce challenge will not be on the battlefield. I'm really excited to read this. I think it's like a slow burn, forbidden romance. If you like Callie Hart, Rebecca Yarros, or Lauren Roberts, this one is for you. So they're the 5 arcs that I have on my TBR. So that brings me to the end of the books that I want to read in January 2026. There's 21. And how am I doing? You might want to ask. Well, I have read 4 books already this year. I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. So the first 2 books I actually devoured, and I have done reviews for these on my TikTok and on my Instagram, was Fight and Protect. These were so fun. They were so spicy. It was so weird talking about them at the start of the video and then being like, actually, I've already read these. I couldn't put them down. Finished them in a day, each of them. So read that on the first, read that on the second. We are currently on the 4th. So I feel like I'm doing really well. The 3rd book I read, which I'll put a picture up on here, is The Dare by Holly LaRue. This is actually the prequel to the Loser series, part 1 and part 2. I'm still in 2 minds as to whether you should read it before or after. It's kind of like a fun, spicy novella. It's got a lot of spice. Let me just say that. It has a lot of spice. It's very kinky. Is there much plot to it? No, which is why I'm like, would I still think I'd read it after Losers part 1 and part 2, just because it's like a fun, spicy prequel, but you can often read a prequel after a sequel. And then the other book that I just finished is When Gavin Met Stacey. I adored this. It was everything I needed in a book to kind of finalise this series for me. I loved the final episode, but I still needed more, and finding out all these little tidbits and information on how they started writing and where it led them and why they made the decisions they made. Oh, it was just beautiful. So yeah, 4 books already done in 2026. I'm very proud of myself. In terms of what else I've been doing, I have been obsessed with the brand new Harlan Coben TV series, which is called Runaway. That's on Netflix. I've been watching that. And I found a new book app that I'm a little bit obsessed with called Margins I'll put a little image of it on the screen, and I'll make sure I put the link in the bio to Margins. If you have an iPhone, you should be able to download it. It's similar to Goodreads and Fable and all that, but I just think I'm preferring it. I'm so preferring it to the other methods I use. I always use Goodreads because I feel like you have more information on when books are coming out, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Goodreads, but Margin I'm really enjoying. I've been tracking my reading, and yeah, it's been really fun using it so far. We'll see in end of February if I'm still, end of January if I'm still using it, or if in February I'm still using it, but so far I am loving it. Thank you so much for watching today. Make sure you hit subscribe so you can turn on notifications and be notified. I'm now going to be posting on a Sunday in the evening, so hopefully this video has found you. See you book lovelies later.